Melang, Molweni, Sanbonani, good day. Hi, Winda. Hello guys, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. Share with other people who might need the content before my exam, right? Okay, today we are doing grade 12 mathematics literacy. So we are doing a grade 12 maths lit paper. Remember some questions? We always read the instructions and we number the questions correctly. Now, the maths lit, you'll always be given something to study before you answer questions, before you even attempt to answer questions. So the first one is this one, right? It says table 4, it's 2.3, shows the financial overview of Solendam municipality in R000. Manje yabona kuno R apostrophe 000. Usually they say in rands. So uthi ba add lo 000. They are telling you ukuthi whatever values you want kule table, you must add labo 0 ekugcineni, right? So that you get the full amount. So they've abbreviated imali ngabo 0 abayigcina. So that's what it means. Le nto ngaphakathi kwale bracket le yabo 000, right? That's what it means. Including the income and expenditure, okay, the original budgeted amount, the adjusted budgeted amount, and the actual amount. So actually, okay, there is a financial overview for the municipality. But isinkhazi labo 0 basho ukuthi izokutshela nge-income ye-municipality, izokutshela nge-expenditure ye-municipality i-budget, original budget, and adjusted budget, and the actual amount. So income and expenditure is the same concept from grade 10 maths lit. And then manje masiza ku-original budget, adjusted budget, and the actual budget. I-budget siyazi ukuthi imali oplan ukuyisebenzisa when you break down ama-plans wakho emali, right? Okay, before imali iba khona, due to over or underspending, this original budgeted amount is reviewed during the year and adjusted accordingly. So bayasho, they're giving you another piece of information, but sometimes with municipality, we know what about overspend or underspend. So because of that, by adjust the budget during the year. So uzothola a column ebhalwe adjusted budget. Ilalo adjusted the phuma khona. Okay, now let's look at the budget. Table 4, financial overview of Solendam municipality. Okay, 9. Income bese bafaka lo R000, right? Guys, lo 000 abamfaka ngamahala. That's a grouping of tens units and 100 cents and units, meaning what it adds at the end, right? Now under details, you are told ukuthi le budget idila ngani, ama-grant, no pension, whatever, no municipality. No, I mean income, ama-grants, sorry. And then taxes, levies, and tariffs, mali bayicharge kulokho, and other. So parts about total. Now go original budgeted amount, the first column, right? Income here to it's 71 million. Why am I saving 71 million? Because of the 3 zeros, Liz. They should be here after every now. Are we together so far? And Nizobona and Pambile, it's going to be a question of Kulmanga million. So it shows what Lama 0.3 lawa, they mean with each and every number was 0.3, which makes it a million, which makes this one a million, which makes this one a million. I hope I'm making sense, guys. Now, grants, the budget they are called, the original budget was 71,396,000. Basically, tax and levy was 180 million 455,000, and then other is 61 million 940,000. So budget, the original one, was estimating around 213 million 792,000, right? And then during the year they adjusted it. So when they adjusted it, Amakrans went from 71 million to 111 million 769,000. Taxes and levies, bashike means somewhere was to the seafood. And then other was adjusted from 61 million to 48 million 152,000. So Amakrans adjustment corner it went up, other adjustment corner it went down. Now the actual amount that they received, the actual income, because the budgeted income, budget means something you are expecting, it's an estimation. So the actual one right? They had budgeted bazothola 71 million, and then in the course of the year they adjusted their budget according to whatever needs, and then they thought, okay, we'll get 111 million. But their income at the end of the year, when they got the actual income, Amakrans were actually 68,286,000. That's the actual amount. And then taxes, levies, and tariffs was 180,702,000. So Ama levy and Ama tax, they were close to the original budget. The actual one, it was below the budgeted one, Amakrans. And then other, it was 68,594,000. So other was a bit more. Now when you look at my total, original, adjusted, and the actual, we see what the original was 213 million, adjusted was 240 million, abbreviator, and then the actual was 270 million. So it was between 313 and 340, right? Now that's the income, the municipality, right? And then the expenditure, now you're same thing. Original budgeted amount here might be by expected we spend is 322,891,000, which was already over the expected income, right? And then it was adjusted to 316,678,000. Okay, but then the actual is not written, so somewhere we have to calculate it. And then you have either a net surplus at the end or a deficit. Yeah? Surplus means malesele, or deficit means which they went over budget. So you have under original budgeted amount in a surplus which be malin or buy over malin. It's 9,099,000. Uma brackets, right? That means something. Adjusted budgeted amount is 24 million and 10. I call my brackets. It means something. Then you have the actual amount which we are not given. Okay. Now we can start with the first question. Then the first question says, identify, use table 4 above to answer the question that for. Identify the item that was over budgeted for by more than 40 million. Now, if you go back, right? Now we are looking for something that was over budgeted for more than 40 million. Now, if you look at Amakrans, right? You see, you would say the original budgeted amount, the adjusted budgeted amount, number 111 million, right? Specially adjusted. Then when you look at the actual amount, it's 68 million. So when you say 111 minus 68, you'll find which line the difference was above 40 million. So our grants were the ones that were over budgeted for, right? So the answer is our grants you that were over budgeted for by over 40 million, right? If budget compared to the actual amount was over 40 million less than the budgeted amount. Yabona lana ilana ke isilungu siqala uxaka abantu khona, right? So you must read Isilungu very carefully. And then from here we move to 2.3.2. 2.3.2 says determine the adjusted budget amount for the taxes, levies, and tariffs. So bathi sizala taxes, levies, and whatever, and then bathi bafuna the adjusted budgeted amount, right? So we're supposed to now calculate le ebangayifakanga ukuthi okay le amount yakhona imali, right? Together so far. Okay, now this is how we do the calculations. We want the adjusted budgeted amount for those grants. Now let me show you a table. Okay, finally, right? So when we look at this column, le is the total amount for zonke lezi 3. So it means le plus le plus le, it should be equals to le ekugcineni, right? Meaning ukuthi masifuna le, we must add these two minus kule bese sizothola ukuthi le bekumele kube imali, right? It's that simple. We move downwards and then we subtract lezi ngaphakathi from the total one, and then it will give us what we need. Okay, now let's do the actual calculation. So it's 2.3.2. I'm glad with you already know what you must number correctly. So we know what the total amount is 340,688,000. Again, because I get then go sizo minus the 111,769. Spin the minus 40. 48,152. So kusho ukuthi kule amount le sizo minus lokhu nalokhu and then sithole lokhu. Do you see how it goes? Okay. So when we do that, our final amount is 180,767 rand, because this is Metslate. So it means the amount for here, the adjusted, is 180 million. So they adjusted it from, it's almost the same, right? 180 million, 456 original budgeted amount, and then 180,767 go adjusted. They only changed that. Okay. Now, question 2.3.3. It's it. Question 2.3.3 says, give a reason why the amount 9 million and 99,000 is shown in brackets. So, bafuna ukwazi ukuthi lama brackets asho ukuthini. So, according to accounting, mabona ama brackets 2.3.3. Abantu will say the deficit. Yini deficit? It means it's negative, right? It indicates what is negative, meaning it's over budget. My positive, you're right. My negative, we should hear over budget. Are we together so far? Okay. And then from there, they say 2.3.4. 3.4, 2.3.4. Question akwana ithi, show how the total net surplus ile ekhuphukile, deficit ile ehlile. So but to show how the total net surplus or deficit amount for the original budgeted amount was calculated. So bafuna ukuthi sithole A, right? Because that's where they talk about net surplus, net deficit. So we want the actual amount, which is U. Y is going to A. So we must show ukuthi by calculator kanjani, right? Labantu laba abasebenza kuma municipality, they draft these budgets. So in net deficit or in net surplus, let's go back to the question. It says, show how the total net surplus or deficit amount for the original budgeted amount was calculated. Or abafuna le. So they want us to show ukuthi 9,099,000 bamthole kanjani, right? Because they said for the original budgeted amount. Okay. Yeah, whether nasi slow. Umuntu ngabagijimele ku-Y kade abafuni no-Y. So in order for us to show how they got to this amount, the net deficit, we have to go down the column, the original amount, the total account, right? So you're going to take the budgeted amount, total account, basically income minus expenditure. This is a total which is salary. So it's the same formula Y7 sector, just that margin, you go my column. So it's income minus expenditure, which will be 330,792 minus 322,891, right? So you say income yami minus a expenditure, then it will give you a surplus or a deficit, right? Or did you go over budget or are you under budget into a finalist? And then your final answer will be negative. It will be negative 9099. And we did say ukuthi lama bracket lawa they represent ukuthi answer yethu is negative, right? Okay, for financial document, when you see ama brackets, you should know it means there's a negative now. Okay, and then let's go to the next question. The next question says 2.3.5. The actual total expenditure Y. Show the net surplus amount of 2.53%. Okay. So that's P, the information of color, which is 2.3.5, but a 2.53%. So that is 2.53% is our amount, our net surplus amount, right, of total income. So with total income, but in net surplus account is 2.53%. Maybe a percentage form, right? We have to convert it. Basically, show by means of calculation that the table value of the actual amount for the total expenditure Z to the nearest whole number is 309,547,000. So baqala basipha the first statement basitshela ukuthi the actual total expenditure yonke, the total expenditure shows the net surplus amount of 2.53% of the total income. Yabona-ke badlala ngesilungu, khuluma nge-expenditure, bakhuluma nge-surplus. We must know how to separate the two statements and make sense out of them. So the information basically sitshela ukuthi 2.53% of the surplus the expenditure, right? And then but is Toluzet. Are we together so far? Okay. Now this is how we do it. Right? You go to the amount you have. The amount you have is this. This is your total actual amount, right? And bakulmile a total actual amount. Your total income, right? It's the same thing. So ours is simple. They told us what from the total income you have 2.53%. So the total income is 317,582 multiplied by 2.53%. It's only 2.53% yakhona because basitshela ukuthi i-2.53% yakhona yini angithi. So masi calculator, it gives us 8,034,000, right? Comma 825. Let's say round off, it will be 8035. Round off to the nearest unit. Okay, now this is the net surplus. Remember, the question told us, which 2.5% of the total income is your net surplus. I need to divide. Okay, yeah. So we should master to tell 2.53%. That's our net surplus. Then they said, since the net surplus, right, which is here, is the amount that should be here. Why? So just funale. So if we have this one and this one, it's easy to find this one. We just minus these two, right? I will use the same formula so I don't confuse you. So you have income minus expenditure, which should be equals to net. So our income is 582,000, and then minus E, blah blah blah. My bad, it's this minus N, which is equals to E. Start to E simulator, start to N simulator, and then it's this minus the 8 million is going to be taller, because that's the net amount. And then when we minus these two, our final answer is 309,547,000. So this amount is the amount for here. So we took this, we minus this, and then we found this. That's just how simple it is, right? Now, in order for us to find this, they told us which is 25% of this, 2.53% of this gives us this. So we multiplied this by 2.53%, then it gave us that. So everything was in the information. Now you're dealing with the big amounts, Lana, but it's the same concept here. Income, expenditure, nemali salayo, right? And learn ENC, right? That's like from grade 10. The only difference, once you are doing it on a larger scale, right? You are no longer doing income, your salary, or so in the income, your municipality, which are millions of rands, but it's the same concept. nothing much really changes. I hope we are good. I'm doing two topics namhlanje because I was having inking on the internet, but now they are since sorted, so I want to catch up, right? Okay, now this is a table. We study first. Who maths lady, please study what you are given before you even attempt my question, right? So that you know what they're talking about. Overnutrition occurs when there is an excessive intake of dietary energy. Okay, that given us with in overnutrition, resulting in overweight or obese people. The double bar graph shows the percentage of children in two age groups who are overweight or obese in South Africa. Okay, so bayasitshela ukuthi lama bars bonisa two age groups, right? The following descriptors have been used: male, female, urban, and rural. Okay, manje masibheka itable lethu in the title. Every table should have a title. Children in two age groups who are overweight or obese. Then lana basitshela ukuthi percentage of the children. Then lana bayasho male, female, urban, and rural. So siqala ngama-male, right? And then la bayasitshela age group la bakhuluma ngawo. Age group under 5 years and age group 5 to 17 years. So le line is under 5, le solid is between 5 and 17. So thatha zonke iy'ngane hle. Then we see, okay, kuma males, overall, the ones under 5 is about 15%, and then our males are between 5 and 17 is about it's almost 15%, if not actually 15%. So it different ayikhonkulu ngawo. So kuma females, when you look at the age group under 5 years, it's 11.1%, percentage. And then when you look at abantomazana between the age of 5 and 17, it's 21.5%. Look at abantu abahlala eGoli, urban areas, is 13.2%. Laba under the age of 5, and then abahlala eGoli between the age of 5 and 17 is 20.1%. So they are really obese. Masiye emakhaya, it's below 15%, 13.5%, and then laba between the age of 5 to 17 is 16.3%. Okay, now we've studied this. Let's try to attempt answering the questions, right? Okay, now the first question says 3.1.1. Identify the only descriptor where the age group 5 to 17 years old are fewer than the age group under 5 years old. So lana to go back to your graph, identify iba ebonisa age group ye 5 to 17 laba few bancane than age group ye 5, right? So masithi siyabheka kule yokuqala, i-5 to 17 is below under 5. The rest, the under 5, your ephansi, right? So kuma males, that's where the obesity is vice versa. So it means uzothi kuma males, that's where you find laba under 5. That laba under 5, they're over, they're more than laba between 5 and 17. And then 3.1.2 says determine the difference in percentage of the two age groups for the female descriptor. Manje bathi determine the difference. When you see the word difference, you must know what bafuna something that you minus, right? So they say determine the difference in percentage of the two age groups for the female descriptor. So they have the same thing. Female descriptor, two age groups, is the age group here under 5, another one over 5, between 5 and 17. So you have to minus this and this. That's why they show the difference. They say minus sifuna ukubona umehluko ukuthi ungakanani. Okay. So let's do the equation. So it's going to be 20. Yo, according to Balegi, numbering correctly. 3.1.2. So we're going to have 21,5 minus 11,1. So umuntu angabuza ukuthi ngiyithathaphi le nto. Angithi bathe on the female column. So now a female, and then we minus this and this, right? They want the difference between those two. Okay, and then must do minus. Our answer gives us it's equals to 10,4%. Remember, we are dealing with percentages, and I told you the answer must always have a shape, right? Okay, so we go to 3.1.3, and then when we go to 3.1.3, the question says compare. So compare. Now compare with things 32 or more, and comment on the urban and rural descriptors of the two age groups. So what to compare go urban and rural and make a comment based on your observation. Manje mina the first thing ngibona ukuthi especially amantombazana awase urban, they are way more obese than amantombazana ase rural, right? The other person can say abafana base rural, they're a bit more obese than abafana base urban, right? Omunye umuntu angathi amantombazana ase rural, they exercise more because of kumele bakhe amanzi nani, so they are less obese. So whatever comment, as long as it relates to abantu be-urban ne-rural, it's very rare that you can get a wrong answer as long as you are focusing on the right topic, right? I won't write it down, but I've explained already. So it means this one will be our 3.1.4. Okay. So the question for 3.1.4 says, in a rural school, there are 795 learners. 795 learners, okay. Value information, 795 learners. And then in the age group 5 to 17 years, okay. Rural, right? Calculate the number of learners who are not overweight or obese. Okay. So I actually would say isikolo sonke, because they did this in the school, has 795 learners all in all, and then they found that 16% yabo yabantombazana in rural. So 16% amantombazana was obese and 13% abafana is not obese, right? So but please find the ones who are not obese. So zohlanganisa i-percentage yalaba obese, right? Okay. So 16% of female learners are obese, right? Let's go back to the statement. In a rural school, there are 795 learners, or in the age group 5 to 17. So focus on 5 to 17. And then we try to find out and answer the question. Okay. So we know what it 16.3%, yeah, that between the age of 5 to 17. and then we multiply this by 795 learners, right? And then when you multiply, you get 130 learners. So it means 130 learners are obese. Now we want to know how many are not obese. So this is the total number of learners, which is 695, minus 130 that's obese. And then we find which is 665 learners are not obese. So you see, in rural areas, mass biology school, we actually find which is a very small number that's obese, because more than 600 are not obese. Are you together so far? Okay. So that's how you find solutions for that. And then we tackle the last question, 3.1.5. Now 3.1.5 says determine the probability, okay, as a fraction. Okay, so the probability must be written in fraction form of randomly selecting a female who is under 5 years old and not overweight or obese. So we are looking for a probability of randomly selecting someone who's under the age of 5 and who is not obese or overweight. A female. So we're going to the female category, right? So in the category, we're going to look for the probability of finding someone who's below the age of 5, meaning this category here, and who's not obese. Okay. You must know which category specifically, because that's a general question. Okay. Let's do it. So you have 100%, it is 3.1.5. You have 100% to any probability, right? And then will 100% we minus 11.1%. Which are the ones who will be obese? The 11.1%. And then our final answer is 88.9%. Right? So the probability of our learner not being overweight is 88.9%. But I find it in fraction form. So we must convert this percentage form into a fraction. So we know what 88% is the same as 88.9 over 100. It's 88%. But 88.9% is not a proper fraction. We must get rid of the comma. So we add a 0 lapans. Right? Remember that grade 10 it did this thing adding a 0 zeros. So when we add a 0, our final answer is 889, because 9 is over 1000. My casual calculator, you just press that second function and then it will generate the answer in fraction form. Okay, this was a grade 12 maths lit paper focusing on 2 topics, because I'm playing cover up. We're doing a probability, and then we are also doing a financial document, a budget, right? So remember, if you need to get in contact with us, you can always email us musangofa@gmail.com, and then for private sessions you can communicate that with us there, so that we are able to assist before your bali paper. Okay, some questions. Sharp.